time now to talk about Scream 6, aka Screevy, as it is affectionately called on the Fake Nerd podcast. This will be full spoilers, so if you've not seen the sixth entry in the Scream franchise, you can. Once again, the Cine-Files for the previous Scream films we've talked about are down below. You can check them out. But we're going to be talking about Scream 6, full spoilers. What do we think about this?
For real, if you care, leave.
Murder happens in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what do we think about this?
I love it.
I also love it.
Ben?
I love it.
I like it.
Okay.
God damn it.
What?
God damn it, Brandon. This is what I mean. This is what I mean. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania and this are both 8s. Loved it. Like it. I don't. Go ahead. I'm excited to talk about it. Let's go.
Here's the thing, because I don't like 3 stars.
Sure.
If you really want to understand my letterbox, it's I don't like 3 stars. 3 stars are for movies where I'm just kind of all right about. Outside of that, I have to look at 3.5 or 4, and if you're not at 3.5, you're 4. There's no way around it.
That's why, honestly, one reason I don't like Letterboxd.
I don't really like the ranking system of Letterboxd. I'll be honest. I just kind of do it arbitrarily.
Sure. Yeah.
I prefer the 1 through 10.
Here's the thing. I think comparing like all movies to all movies is always stupid.
Of course,
so, like,
of course.
You know,
it just makes it harder on a 5-point scale to do.
It's just funny.
Yeah.
Now I will say I just want to be very clear. There's only one thing that I'm rubbing up against, and my mind could change at the end of this.
Rub.
So
let's
get into it.
We don't normally see a movie so quick to review. We normally see it at least a day or two in reverse. Like we saw this movie a couple hours ago, so I'm still processing it. But I always know my gut feelings, and my gut feeling is that I love this movie. I like all the core 4 is great. I like all of our new characters. I liked our villains, and then I grew to love them once everything was revealed. It's just like it's a great sequel. It's a great legacy sequel. It's a great requel. It's just another great Scream sequel, and I can't believe this franchise continues to be as good as it is. Like, I thought it was just so much fun and brutal. So brutal.
If I may, this movie continues I'm going to call this a franchise trope of Scream, where you think one thing, it subverts your expectation 5 seconds later, and then it subverts it again 2 minutes later. Especially when you get to the climax of the film, the very end of the film, because I thought that the killer was going to be this person, and then I thought, oh no, maybe it's actually this person, and then it's revealed, surprise. It just constantly, you're standing on like 3 rugs, and you're constantly pulling the rug out from under you, and the second you think you have decent bearings, here's another twist, or here's another rug pull, and you're like, oh shit, I never saw that coming. And
I unfortunately got spoiled who one of the killers was by an actor himself. And that's still, and I'm someone who I spoilers are a big deal for me because I love movies. I don't want to know shit going into a movie. This did not ruin the experience whatsoever because there's 3 killers in this movie, and I could not have predicted that at all. And I loved it. God, family, love it. They're almost the core 4.
Thank you, Ben.
You're right. Sorry.
Technically 4.
That's debatable.
But Greg didn't kill anyone yet.
No, I know that we know.
No, because he says I was getting blue balls, so I needed to practice, and which implies that Greg has not done it yet.
Okay, fair. Okay.
So we have Tony Revolori, and then the 3 family members. We have 4 killers in this movie, and I love that. I love it.
It's almost a theater troupe. Almost.
No Stab the Musical.
I know.
That was disappointing.
It's not like a negative on the movie, but I was really expecting at least something.
I blame the marketing team for that one because they released that like holiday themed poster to amp people up about the release of this film, and in it there's a marquee that says "Stab the Musical." So I'm like,
yeah,
great. That makes a lot of sense. That would be really cool. And then it's like, nah, that's not part of this at all. Yeah. I was like, oh,
unfortunately,
a little bit of a bummer.
Maybe it's a deleted scene somewhere. That'd be nice.
All right,
maybe.
Brandon, I mean, you set it up top, so I gotta know what are you rubbing up against?
I don't like the killers.
You don't like the killers, just because you don't like them as people?
No, I don't like the reveal. I don't like their motivation. I don't like them at all. I don't think they work.
Remind me how much do you like Scream 2? I actually don't remember.
I really like Scream 2.
Okay.
Because
I love Scream 2, and this is very much just doing a Scream 2 again, which is right. In line with this being a sequel to Scream 1. You know, like doing the legal. So like.
Now I have a tendency to back myself into a corner and be far more negative than I really am. And it must be clear, I really like this movie. I had a great time in it. I think I like this better than Scream 2. But as far as this movie goes, as far as criticisms for this movie, I just don't think The Killers worked for me.
Okay.
Sure.
And now that said, I am here, much like Ryan was for The Last Jedi, to have my mind changed. Because I want to like this movie more than I did.
Sure.
I just don't know if there's anything we could say to change that.
Who knows? We'll find out. I really like the opening. I want to just talk about
the hell
opening.
Yeah.
I think
I love ravioli.
I think man, Samara Weaving, like, you know, the moment she's there, we were like, oh man, there it is. There she goes. Love her.
I was honestly, when she shows up, I'm like, no, please, no.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because once again, you know, there comes a problem at the show where I back myself into a place of being far more negative. But once again, my desire to be clear, my anxiety, if you will. The opening of this movie is incredible. I was when Tony Revolori kills Samara Weaving, I was like, oh my God, are we going to get our first ghost face reveal in the beginning? Is that going to be the movie? Is we're going to know who Ghostface is from the beginning of the movie?
The answer is yes. That was going to be the movie that was going to happen before other killers got involved.
I think that's brilliant.
So the moment when he stabbed her and was still standing over her and we hadn't cut the title, I'm like, yo. And then he bends down and he takes the mask off and I'm like, yo. Yeah. I was so excited. I was giddy as a schoolgirl, honestly. And the fact that it was Tony Revolori, who I called from beat one, he's a killer in this movie. I don't care that he wasn't the main killer. He was a killer.
He still
killed. I was right. I love that. And I love this. There's a lamer, more shallow plot that they were going to create, being super, super reductive of the killers of the past.
Yeah.
And the fact that they get killed before they can enact their plan is so good. And like, you can't beat the opening where he's like, what about continuing the movie? Who gives a shit about the movies? He stabs him. And then you get the Scream title card. I was like, fantastic. Maybe one of my favorite Scream openings ever.
Yeah.
You know what? I will say this is my favorite Scream opening because like I said earlier, constant rug pulls, constant. You think one thing, it turns you around and gives you nothing. Because I was just like you, Spark. I thought this was gonna be the first movie where we knew who the killer was from the first scene, and I was like, holy shit, how are we gonna see them like plan shit out? How are we gonna? And then when he started talking to Jenna Ortega's character, I'm like, oh no. So the panic started to set in, and then you hear the Ghostface modulator. I'm like, oh shit.
It wasn't even that. For me, Ben, it was the moment he walked into his house and went, honey, I'm home.
Yeah.
Greg. And then I'm like, oh, they're dead. Yeah. They're gonna die now.
And like when Samara Weaving answers her phone and this attractive man shows up and like the voice comes out as Tony Revolori, it's like, that's not the picture that was on her phone. So I thought when we heard the noise, the voice modulator turn on, I thought it was the Scream 3 voice modulator turning off. And I was like, oh, is the Ghostface killer going to be using voices again? Are we going to go try that trope again? And then I remembered it was the sound effect that we heard in Scream 5 when he turns on the voice modulator.
Also, on the note of that, when the movie's starting and we get the call to Samara Weaving of you know, I'm Reggie calling from the place, and I was listening to it, I was like, oh man, like that sounds like Tony Revolori.
Oh yeah.
Like, so that's gotta be like, and so when he pulled the mask off, I was like, oh thank God. Like they're not hiding that. That was just him using his regular voice. Love it.
Greg's in a fridge.
Greg's in a fridge. Super, super good. I think that our returning stars, our core four, are all excellent. I'm really glad, as Jenna Ortega has talked about, that she has like a full arc and personality in this one. She deserved it. And I think the relationship between between the sisters is really, really good.
I think the relationship between all of them is really good.
I agree.
Like their chemistry, like not just because they were in the last movie together, but like they feel like real friends. Like
there was a scene that I really liked later on in the movie that it's after they were attacked in the apartment, and Mindy kind of like sitting there's like, I don't want to get hurt again, and Chad says, I don't want to get hurt again either, and like they have this kind of moment of vulnerability of like, I don't want to go through this again. This is awful. And like, and like that kind of like, Sidney obviously became much more of a character who was like, you know, I'm going to face this head on. I'm going to kill Ghostface. And it's really interesting to see like these four characters kind of like, I don't want to do that. I want this to leave me alone. But
I want to live my life.
Because they're a family, they're like, no, we're with you.
You bring up a great point, Brandon, because I think specifically with Mindy, when we did our 5 Cream review, I talked about this plenty, where I felt like Mindy maybe didn't take the events quite as seriously as I felt she should have, for the facts of trying to be like Randy again. Mm-hmm. And in this one, at the beginning of the movie, I was a little nervous. We were still in that space with Mindy. So getting to have that scene where she's like, I really don't want to do this again. And like, you're getting to like the later half of the film where she's really going through it. I'm like, okay, no, like she can still be a film horror nerd and live in the moment and acknowledge like the danger of this. And she's not the same character from the first one. Who's her
lady friend? Annika. Rest in peace.
She goes out.
Dude, she got stabbed, but then he did a thing where he ripped it up and she still lived long enough to fall off and break her neck.
Yeah, that was awful.
Yeah,
what a tough lady.
I think the kills in this one are incredible. There's a lot of really brutal murders, and you know the directors here are doing what, you know, Wes Craven did so well, which is kind of keep the audience guessing what's going to happen. So yes, Annika got stabbed, but she's not dead yet. We're going to prolong her death. Because we want you to believe that she can probably make it out, because we've seen people recover from stab wounds.
Yeah.
But then you pull the rug out from under them, as Ben said, no, she's or the ladder, then she dies.
I whether you think like wherever you rank this on your Scream movie list is like your own opinion. I think this is the scariest of all the Scream movies. I think this is like, I was so tense in this theater. Like this is the most tense I think out of all the movies, where it's just like, they're just always in terror. No matter where they go, they're never safe.
Notably, in that same vein, this is the least funny. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. This is the least funny Scream movie.
Yeah. That's a good one.
I don't want to say I'm desensitized, because after essentially marathoning these films so we can talk about them before this film comes out, especially after like 3 and 4 and 5, you kind of get a sense of, I don't want to call it the Scream formula, but it's essentially kind of like a Scream formula where you know the killer's going to pop up somewhere. You know there's more than one. In the case of 3, there's only the one. But you have a bunch of these killers coming up. I have to agree with Ryan that this one, I truly felt in dread for the characters constantly throughout the movie. Like, like even when they're in their own homes, like in the beginning of the movie, you see Sam have that many deadbolts in her door, and yet the killer got in.
One of the things that I think really helps this movie is to feel like to kind of differentiate itself from the other Scream films is that it knows Scream films have always kind of like, they know what you're going in for. So how can we move that? How can we move away from that? How can we prove that this is a more ruthless killer? If you notice, while yes, Ghostface still fumbles, it's not as much as he normally does. It's not as much as previous Ghostface has. It's not as funny. The tension building scenes, there's 2 specifically, the apartment scene and the train, I think are spectacular.
Oh my God.
That train, I was really hoping and praying that the train sequence, especially with Mindy, when they get separated and Mindy's on the train and you see all the ghost faces and you see the ghost face people on the train just look over and just stare in their direction. I really hope it was just like, it was the trailer subverting my expectations. Maybe it's like, I mean, obviously I'm expecting them to get stabbed, but maybe it's a red herring and they get stabbed elsewhere. But damn, the train
scene was incredible, honestly.
Yeah, that worked.
those two specifically that I mentioned, the apartment scene and the train scene, are two of my favorite scenes in the franchise.
And I will say that is also a great job to the directors, and also how the Scream films, you constantly are guessing on who the killer is. I didn't think Ethan was one of the killers because he was on the train.
Yeah.
And when Mindy got stabbed, I'm like, oh no, he can't be, because this clears him. Surprise, surprise, he is one. There's three of them. He is one of the killers.
Yeah. I think I wouldn't like the killers as much if there were only two. But having three, it makes the mystery of who the killer is so much spicier, because like you see a lot of the people on screen, so you never really know who to trust, especially in like the boyfriend character and and all that. So like having it be like three and be a family, I think like perfectly worked.
It's also our first fake out of a victim being one of the killers.
Oh, absolutely. That's how completely. Oh my god! And she's the most psychotic. She's like Amber. She's crazy.
Is this is there a scene where where Detective Killer Man says that he lost his son prior to this?
Yeah.
Okay, because there's a line after Gwen dies, quote unquote, where he says, "Now I've lost both my kids." And I thought, thinking back on that, I thought maybe that was him slipping up, but if that was mentioned before, then it's not.
He mentions it at one point, and Quinn also says when she goes in to talk to Tara that when her brother died, her dad moved to New York and became a cop there because of being a helicopter parent. And so like that's kind of the coverage is those references to the brother dying. So it feels very normal the way they slipped it in.
Right.
Yeah.
But they all know that like Quinn had a brother who died. They just didn't know, everything
happened
about
to
that.
be the guy who tried to kill all them.
Because we were talking about the subway thing. I was really glad that it was two subways instead of one.
Oh yeah, the trailer did a good job.
I thought in the trailer, was that they were all in the same one. The fact that it ended up being two in the movie kept like a lot of suspense to the scene.
100%.
I think this is maybe one of my only particular gripes with the film is that when they're so committed to wearing the masks of the previous killers to do the killings, the fact that that they're wearing a store-bought mask when they stab Mindy on the train was a little like, okay. I guess
because they are going in order, and that is the one time they're like, "Man, not this time though." So like, sure, yeah.
I get that.
But I don't want to get to. I want to talk about like the killer reveal stuff a little later. I really like the relationship dynamics. I like Annika with Mindy. I'm glad she's like got that relationship. I think it added a lot. I like Danny as a character, like the new boyfriend for Sam. I think he's really great. Especially, I was glad, like we went again, like repeating Scream 2 to an extent. We went the same route. Like the boyfriend is suspicious, but not the killer. And I really like that he was a person who was like, don't trust anyone, not even me. And he's like, no, I get it.
Josh Segarra, who we most recently saw in She-Hulk. Yeah, that dude is like one of the most charming men on the planet. That dude he's got like, I got charisma out the ass. Like the way he talks, he's so cool.
I really like his voice, and I'll go back to his earliest role that I remember him which is Adrian Chase and Arrow.
Prometheus. He's so good in that show.
He's very good, and I really liked him in She-Hulk. And I again, like I'm hearing like Sparks was saying, just my final things because I know Sparks wants to say something. The thing of like the fact that he was like, I get it. I get it. You don't need to trust me. I'll go. I get it.
I'll bring backup. Actually,
it played exactly on the right level of like he had just enough presence where it's like you could be a really nice dude who's trying to be supportive and understands it. You could also be just playing the angle just right to keep the right amount of distance to be the killer. And like they kept that really, really nice space. But I was really glad ultimately.
I'll tell you what,
like a guy, especially after the ladder scene. I was like, man, it's gonna really suck if you're one of the killers.
Like I knew he was obviously gonna be more important in the movie, but like when he's first introduced as like, oh, he's a neighbor that I never talked to. I thought the moment when they first kissed, I thought she was just having such a bad day. She just pulled him in for a kiss. Like, oh wow,
I think they want to throw you for that
meet
also.
You. Yeah, it is a great reveal of like, oh, actually, we've been doing this for a month now. I think that is a great reveal. I love it.
Real quick, because we got Grayson in the chat. He says, "Real question, Ben, how's the hair?" Hey, it was great.
We watched.
Yeah. And then Mag, of course, says, love how they brought all the props, costumes in the warehouse. And then he goes on to say the nose stab through the mouth was the one that got me.
Oh my God, there's eye stabs, there's head stabs, there's mouth. This is a gross one.
This was. I want to talk about the shrine real quick. Because because the trailer, I thought the shrine was something that Gale built as not as like a shrine to the killers.
Really?
Or something that's like, it's a reminder of what she went through. And like how they need to.
Well, what's weird is the trailer says this is the killers.
Or maybe I just misheard that. It's probably because I just.
Possible.
Yeah, I probably just misheard it. But when they find the shrine, like the spray painted ghost face, what's your favorite scary movie, and all the artifacts from all the films, I love that scene.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's because because now that I've seen all the films, it's like, oh, we're seeing everything from the past films, but also like all the kids can. I feel like this scene was really good because the new kids really felt the weight of how long this has been going on and how long people have taken up the Ghostface mantle and terrorizing a certain group of people for so many years.
Well, one of the things that I think is really interesting, going back to what makes Mindy a stronger character in this film is when she sees when she sees Randy's clothes and she has this moment where it's like, oh, hey, here's Uncle Randy. It's like, this was Uncle Randy's. The kind of like realization, like, oh, our uncle was killed because of this.
Yeah. And someone's collecting all of the shit.
Yeah. I enjoyed. I like that too.
It was either before or after that scene, but like when they're hanging out with the detective and they just have the entire wall of all the killers and all their motivations and everything. And I'm like, wow, look, that's the whole franchise just on this board. Incredible.
Yeah.
I love it.
When it's him and Kirby, both looking at it.
FBI Special Agent Kirby.
Kirby. I loved it.
Kirby's reveal. I completely forgot that Hayden Panettiere was in this movie. And then when I saw that blonde head, I'm like, oh shit, she's FBI.
That was really great because when you bring it up, remember specifically because in Scream 4 we had talked about Kirby being in the movie, but when Scream 4 happened, you were like, oh, I hope she comes back later, and we were because like we knew, the three of us, we knew, and you had forgotten completely, and we were like, ooh, don't say anything.
We all exchanged a look, and we were like, just gonna let that one go.
Yeah, so she just like a Sidney, she didn't want to be the victim anymore, and she became a monster hunter, a Ghostface killer.
I take a special interest in Ghostface killings. I love it. I love it so much. It's such a good, new, fresh role in the franchise, and I think it's great.
And Hayden Panettiere, like she I don't know if she would have been in this movie if she didn't like go to the directors and ask to be in it, basically. Because she was like, after the success of 5, she's like, listen, y'all, my character is not dead. You never saw a body. I could bring a lot to this franchise. You're all doing legacy shit. Also, she's done a lot of interviews. It doesn't look like she's getting a lot of work, so she was really, really happy to be in Scream 6. And I'm really happy for her because she's awesome.
I think she's great.
She is great, and I'm like, oh my god, this girl is a star. I'm so happy she's back. I hope I'm mad. Bring her back. Another one.
There's a really good the Kirby is. How do I want to say this? We've talked a lot about how Sidney's not going to be in the. How Sidney, it's enough. Sidney deserves a happy ending at this point. Kirby is a really good replacement. That legacy character that can kind of come back.
Yeah.
Like Sidney was doing.
Yeah, I agree, and I think it's nice that like. We'll see if we ever see Sidney again. Who knows? But I don't think we should, because I don't think you can kill Sidney, and I'll stand by that.
Yeah,
completely. I think anyone would know that at this point. But a killer. It would make sense that eventually a killer is going to try and drag her into it again.
It's true.
But for this one, it's one of the things I do like about the killers is that it's so focused on Sam. And I was wondering through the whole movie, I'm like, what could the possible reason be to be focused on Sam and call her a liar and a murderer? Yeah. And the fact that it is the reveal that it is, where you murdered our son, like the same, it is like Nancy Loomis. It is, but like it works. It works in the sense of the, you are toxic. You are just as bad. Like this wouldn't have happened. Our son wouldn't be dead if it wasn't for you. And, like, especially like looking at the way she killed him, because she killed him more brutally than like they usually kill killers. And I felt like that motivation landed. I think it's a little. I accept it in the world of Scream just as much as I'll accept anything else, but like it maybe is a little bit of a stretch that like, yeah, the entire family, they're all down with serial killing.
Hell yeah.
But like, yeah, fine. Okay.
They're teenagers, they're easily moldable. 100%.
I especially like the effect. I said I wasn't going to talk about killer reveals later, but whatever. I especially like the effect of, because I was really like, that's not stab. When they started playing like the video on the screen.
Yeah, I was confused for a second
which is before we knew what it was. And then it's Richie's home movies. And I was like, oh, that's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
In a way, kind of deepening Richie to an extent, not to any degree where I, necessarily like admire the character more or anything.
No, but
I think like adding into the background of Richie and like making the family thing kind of work for that.
Yes.
Especially in the sense of like I really, really love Sam having her kind of Sidney moment where she turns on the dad and he's like, he was pathetic. Mm-hmm. He was a man baby.
He was a limp.
He was crying about his movie not getting made. And he was crying when I slit his throat. And I'm like, man, that's so vicious, but yeah, get him.
Yeah. I think the reveal is so fun, and yeah, seeing the home movies again, it's a little thing that did a lot for me, because showing that Richie was making home movies, even earlier than when we saw him, at a younger teenage age, 14, 15, 16, whatever, making these like murder movies. His parents got him that camera. His parents were okay with him making like that whole family is effed up. And like having one of your serial killer sons get murdered will only make you a worse person. And again, we're living in a Scream franchise where half the people in these franchises are crazy. Like, again, we watched, again, this is a sequel doing Scream 2 over again. So like I'm invested into it. I'm into it. And again, if it was only the dad and the son or only the dad and the daughter, I might feel different. But the fact that it's three of them, it's just so kooky. And it's the fact that he has the great line of like, you killed my favorite son. And the other son's like, oh man, I thought that was really funny to me.
There's a really good line that you just reminded me of, which was the reveal of the shrine, and Kirby and Mindy are sitting on the stage and they're looking at the TV that killed Stu Macher.
Yeah.
And
officially opening that door.
Yeah, which thank goodness finally we're doing that. I love the line like, well, if you believe he's really dead.
Next movie.
Right. And like Kirby being in the position she is, where she's the agent, she's looking at all this stuff. If she can't say, well, he is, then he isn't.
Yeah.
That's opening the door so hard right there.
So Stu's the killer in Scream 7.
He's the
mastermind.
Yeah.
And I'm not 100% sure, because I tried to pay attention to this, but I believe every killer has a birth and a death date. And so it's like whatever birth date's a death date. Stu's is just born date and nothing else.
Interesting.
Now, maybe I read wrong, but that's what it looked like to me.
He's definitely
on the board, right? On the board.
Yeah,
or
I
the
think
board?
you're right. I think you're right. I think I clocked that too on the board.
Oh, I didn't. Oh, okay,
where it had their pictures and then the yeah. I'm pretty sure you're right. I'm pretty sure they didn't have a death date on Stu.
Guess I gotta see that movie again.
Yeah,
Damn.
he's almost certainly in Scream Scene.
Hell yeah, baby. Got a mashed up face.
Yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit at the end because I kind of want to talk about where we think it can go from here.
Yeah.
But I wanted to say something that it came back to me because when we were talking earlier about just like Ghostface being scary in this one. For me, it was the sense of like, oh, Ghostface will not only go at any time. Ghostface is ready to kill our main characters, our main two, at any time. And it was the first call where he like just comes at them on the street, which leads them into the bodega.
Yeah.
And like, woof, what a scene. I was like, oh, he'll do it now. He's going for it.
Out of the bushes.
Yeah, that was actually really shocking because you don't expect it, and like he just comes running out at them and almost stabs Jenna Ortega.
Not only that, like any other that's the other thing that makes him scary. It's not just that; it's that once they run in any other Scream movie, Ghostface doesn't follow them in.
Yeah.
This one follows them in and says,
and he kills,
I'll kill 3 people before, on my way to you.
100%. Yeah, he kills. Yeah. He stabs a dude. He shoots the main guy. The other girls get to run out. Luckily.
I like the Gail is in this. That's what I want to talk about. Gail is back. Wrote another book. She just can't help herself.
Of course she did.
God damn it, Gail.
Honestly, after Dewey, I could see her getting real sad, needing money.
So I think this was really important to do, because what was happening at the beginning of the movie is they're doing the thing where like people are saying like online that like Sam was the real killer and she staged all this. And I'm like, if Sidney and Gail told you that she didn't, that should be good enough for anybody at this point in terms of these killings. And when it's revealed that Gail called Sam unstable in the book, I'm like, all right, cool. I think you justify enough for like an internet audience to do this. I then accepted it.
And
I was
also,
like, you know what, I can buy it now, because prior to that moment, I'm like, I don't know. I think that's kind of bullshit.
I'll like, Gail has evolved so much over this like franchise, but at the same time, like she is always going to be that same person at the core who like, I want fame and I want people to have eyes on me. And like, again, after Dewey,
well, she lost her moral compass,
and she lost and when she loses Dewey, and like, hey, her agent's like, yo, you can make another couple bucks, you can get back on TV if you write another book. And like, she's probably sad and alone, so of course she's gonna do that. And then
I like her introduction into the movie because at first we see the phone call. She's calling Sam, and then she shows up, Gail Weathers, Channel 4.
Which was also like a good reveal, just real quick, about like the book thing, because when Gail's calling and Sam's hanging up, I'm like, yo, why?
Yeah.
Like, I thought this would be good.
There's a great moment in the movie in the scene when Sam goes in for a punch and then Tara clocks her.
Yeah, love it.
Great dodge. I've been doing this a long time. Bam.
Love it.
Bitch went down.
And then later Tara's all like, sorry for punching you. No, you're not. No, I'm not.
No, I'm not.
I do want to say you touched on it already, Sparks, but I do want to say I adored Jenna Ortega in this movie, and in a way I didn't in the last film,
because she was like half dead in that.
She didn't get enough to do.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it as a criticism on either film, or I'm just reiterating that I think she was really, really great in this movie.
And like the relationship she has with her sister, like they both experienced, one of the worst things you can go through, and now they are trying to handle it in different ways. And it's just, if you want to go and have random sex with gross people, like maybe that's not the best way to handle it. But also, you should be allowed to live your life like you are being overbearing on your sister. Like they're both right, they're both wrong, and it's a troubling time.
I think this movie does a good job of further expanding on what they set up in the previous one, with the fact that Sam is the daughter of Billy Loomis, and that there's a different stigma, regardless of the survivor capability of it, that comes with that than what we had in Sidney. And what this movie does well is separate, like for this one, and it makes sense that this is the story where you do that Tara has the privilege of not having to live in that shadow.
Yeah.
And Sam doesn't. And that creates this different way of living after the event that they have to go through in this film, which is why I think their relationship, like this is a 10 out of 10 on how they craft their relationship in this story. The fact that it's at the heart of it, the fact that it's done as well as it is, the early beginning moment of the "you have to let me go,"
yes,
going back into the final confrontation, "you have to let me go,"
with a knife
and stab him. Sick, really, really good. Like it's a full thing, and I really, really like it.
This also might be like the dopest Scream movie in terms of just really cool shit happening, because like there's just really cool like fight scenes where like the moment, God bless Chad that he survived, but that dude getting double stabbed and then the double knife clean at the same time, I had a heart attack in the theater, dude. That was like Steve Rogers picking up Mjolnir. I'm not even kidding. That was like the sickest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why is that motion so cool?
Because you brought up Chad, and I want to go back to Gail soon, but like because you brought up Chad, I just want to say I'm glad he's the Dewey of this franchise. And at first the relationship between Chad and Tara, when we first see them at the frat party, and Annika comes up to him and goes, "Hey, we need your help," and he comes to stop Tara from going up. That's a really good scene. But as it was clear that a romance was being hinted at and then blossoming, I was kind of like, am I okay with this? And then after a while, I'm like, I'm okay with this.
Yeah.
It really worked.
It's like, their first initial hookup scene, I'm like, y'all, like, I know y'all are friends. I'm like, is this just because y'all are dealing with trauma? But like over the course of the movie, I'm like, no, y'all vibing. You guys are vibing. Yeah, all right.
And then everybody's like, oh my God, just get together.
Oh my God, yeah. The sister's like, oh my God, finally.
Mindy's just like, make out already. They're like, yeah, no.
But I want to go back to Gail because Gail's bit in the apartment, her fight with Ghostface is really cool. I do appreciate that even though Ghostface is never the same person, they treat it like he is. And he goes, we've never talked on the phone before, have we, Gail? We should do that. Don't you want an interview? And then I love the bit when she's looking at the phone. It's like, can you hold, please? Wait, what? Star 69. I really like that. But the really cool thing about Gail is that when she does get stabbed, and we don't know if she's dead, probably not. But she says, "Tell Sidney that bastard didn't get me."
Do you mean by the end of the movie we don't know if she's dead or not?
By the end of that scene.
Oh yeah.
Well, by the end of the movie, it's not clear if she's dead or not.
They
right?
said she's gonna pull through.
Oh, okay, I missed that.
Yeah. It's a passing line, but they say Gail's gonna pull through.
Because I remember they couldn't keep Mindy from staying in the hospital. Which I thought was very funny.
Yeah. They do say like Gail's in the clear.
Yeah.
But Gail's line of like, tell Sidney that bastard didn't get me.
Yeah. I like that too. Which is also better than like, it's better last words, I think, for Sidney than tell Sidney not to come here.
Yeah.
But I think it's kind of saying a similar thing of like that he didn't get me. And it's also kind of an implication of like, don't come here to take care of this for me.
Yeah.
Like you stay away. I really like it. Like if Gail had to go out in this movie, which I'm glad she didn't. But if she did, that was a good fight.
Yeah.
She really takes Ethan to task on that one because that's definitely Ethan.
And what I really like about oh yeah, you can tell by how they fumble. What I really like about
no, it can't be Ethan. It has to be Quinn. Ethan's in the van.
Ethan's in the van with them.
Ethan is in the van. I think that what's really great about the fight with Gail and Ghostface is that it's taking all the lessons that Gail has learned through her encounters with the previous Ghostface. And, she's never shooting at the body. She's always shooting at the head. And if she hits the body, it's on accident. And then going to the cell phone, to the phone where she calls him back. The phone's going to ring. It's a really great moment for that character that I really appreciated because again, like it built off of the character from the past.
I also think that's the first time that somebody star 69 Ghostface to immediately find him. That was really clever, actually.
Yeah, and that's what I'm talking about. Like, things like that where she's been dealing with this for so long, she's probably been wondering why doesn't anybody call him back? And he's like, hang on.
Yeah.
I really like that.
It's so I also like, both the way Ghostface in that scene puts Gail through it about Dewey, and then also her scene about Dewey earlier in the movie, where they play his theme.
Oh my gosh, I almost cried just from a theme.
Yeah,
and I'm like, wow, that's powerful. Do 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 do. So powerful.
Yeah.
I wrote. Sorry, I was looking at my notes real quick. I wrote, "Glad Chad is the new Dewey." Boy, that guy got messed up in this one.
Yeah,
dude, we've never seen two Ghostface go at a person before.
It was so rough.
And then, that was an incredible moment. When we were getting to the end, and it's, as things are winding down, I'm like, they're gonna say they found Chad. He's gonna wheel out on that stretcher, a la Dewey. They're gonna do it.
Thank God, I'm so happy.
Like, oh man, I can't have Chad go. I love him.
That dude's gonna be like in an iron lung. He got stabbed like 20 times.
I really like the core four. I think this film they really solidify as great characters that I would continue to follow into more movies.
For sure.
That's where that is literally where my love for this film is with the core four. The Ghostface killings are so good. The Mr. X in the trailer is so wonderful because of Henry Czerny's death. Is so when we see that, we don't see the death in the trailer, but we see the Ghostface in the doorway, and we don't know in the trailer who what house that is.
Yeah, I was glad that was used on him. I also really like that as part of Sam's background. We didn't touch on him much, but as the therapist, that like she's gone to a few, and they don't take her sincerely as a victim.
He turned her in,
and like what she's trying to talk to them about.
It's a bad therapist.
And like that a lot of them have had this reaction where like, I can't really work with you. I can't help you with this.
I am so glad that it wasn't a one and done Billy Loomis ghost thing.
I'm so glad you got there.
Because he's not in the movie until the very end for a short period.
No, he's in like he shows up when they get to the shrine, which is in like not quite even the third act.
But he's not in the movie a lot.
But when she's looking at it and then we hear his voice and she's like, oh god damn it.
Not now.
I'm like, Billy Ghost.
Because I really like the idea of like, how are the meds going? Great. I'm not saying anybody who shouldn't be there. And then because this trauma is bringing that back up, it's just like, oh, damn it. Really good. Really good.
And the thing of like, you're a killer inside and all this stuff. And I'm like,
God damn it, Sam, you know better. You grab a weapon and you clear this place yourself.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. And like,
and then she reaches for his and I'm like, maybe not that one. Maybe not
like,
that one.
Good choice. I was like, I like that one.
So here's the thing. Part of the reason why I love the killers I do is the way that they go out when they're not only like the way that they do their reveal and who they are, but also the way that they go out when the ropes are turned on them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of the reasons I end up liking Richie is because Richie turns into like a whining man baby, and I think that's great because he is so pathetic.
Yeah.
I love Sam going full her dad with the voice changer and everything on the detective. I think that's really good. It's like, you wanted this. And then like hearing his voice being Sam using it now is so, and again, like a credit to him, he sounds distinctly different as Sam doing it than he does as when the detective was doing it and stuff.
I didn't clock this in 5 Cream, but Sam has incredible Billy Loomis face.
Yeah.
She turns into him at a point when she's holding the gun at Gwen.
Yes.
And you see it. You see Billy Loomis in her face. And I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that final action scene is
we all go a little mad sometimes.
The final action scene's great, but yeah, going back to like when the detective gets like knocked down and then he's alone in the shrine, I'm like, oh, he's definitely getting a ghost face call right now. Like it just felt right. Yeah. And then he gets the phone call. It's so good. Yeah. His son's movies playing. Like it's so like poetic. Like
I love the when Sam is killing him, about to go for the killing blow. Tara is the one who's to stop is like, I'm not my father. You're right. I shouldn't do this. And then they gonna give each other a look. It's like, but you did mess with our family.
Yeah.
Tara's like, really?
Yeah. I really dig it. And like part of the thing is like, I think I dig the killers because they work so well as the foils of Sam and Tara. And like for the story that it's telling in this movie, it makes a lot of sense. Like this idea of like they're trying to stretch the shadow of Richie over Sam, and Sam's like, God damn it, F you, I'm not doing this shit. So F your whole family, man.
I told him this, but Ben and Brandon, I thought that the core idea of the movie was going to be at the beginning when he's like, but my movie, who gives a shit about movies? I thought the idea of the movie was going to be that this person, the new Ghostface, was so tired of the franchise, he needed to kill everyone who was ever involved with it so people would shut up about it. And they would stop making movies and stop doing stuff. He's like, if everyone's gone, they won't do any more. Obviously, that wouldn't work because they would still just make more no matter what. But I just thought a guy who's so tired of franchises, he wants to put an end to it instead of continue it as like an old grumpy man, like Clint Eastwood style. That wasn't it, clearly. But I love the family angle.
Let's acknowledge Mag's last 2 chats there.
Oh, yes.
Still curious of the victims' drawings. You mean Richie's drawings?
Oh, they're all Richie's drawings. That makes sense.
They never explicitly say it. Like it's there, so you kind of assume it was Richie's.
Okay, I guess that makes sense. Sure.
And I would say probably, but like we don't know 100%.
Oh, but then why would Dewey's death be there? When would Richie have drawn that?
Right after. I don't know.
No, great point.
Maybe this will be something that comes back, and there's actually it was Stu in his little Michael Myers hole that he's been living in.
So there was a part of me that was kind of wondering if they were going to go the Kirby as Ghostface angle.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely want to lean you towards that direction at one point in the film for sure.
That's when I knew she wasn't. The second,
But I was thinking like, no, she's too short.
I said the same thing to Brandon. I'm like, if Kirby's the killer, we're running into the same problem I have with Amber here.
Yeah.
Fortunately, we got Quinn and Ethan standing about, neck and neck with their dad. When they do the mask off moment.
The last comment Mag said, if we want to bring that up real quickly, I also liked how the fan film looked amateurish.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they did a great job with all of that. I really like it. I think all of this gelled together really well.
I think what you're saying about the killers working better as foils for Sam and Tara helps me get over what I think is a rather underwhelming reveal. And I think probably upon a rewatch, I will enjoy this more. Now that said, my only knock against this film really is how much I really freaking love Five Cream, and this wouldn't hit Five Cream for me. Who knows where I'll be on a rewatch though? Because again, there's so much in this movie that I love, and I've been talking about it endlessly with you guys. It's just the killer reveal just kind of didn't work for me, but around that, I'm with the whole thing.
I think unlike Nancy Loomis, who works just kind of as the vengeful mother, you have to look at the Kirsch family here as an extension of Richie. And like, we haven't had that in Killers before, but I think them as killers is hidden so well and obscured, and like, I didn't suspect the detective until near the end.
Yeah.
And
I definitely didn't suspect.
And I wrote off Ethan pretty quick.
I wrote him off
a certain point
in the subway when she was getting stabbed.
And like, obviously I wrote off Quinn once Quinn was a victim. So like, I think they did a good job just hiding the killers in this one, better maybe than some Scream films do.
I think this is one of the best ones where I'm like,
and that made it like kind of land for me. And then like the motivation being the tie back to Richie, I was like, okay, because definitely like when they first take their masks off and like they say like what you did to our family, and I'm like, where are we going with this? Like, what is that?
And again,
and then like the reveal of Richie being their brother and son is like, all right, right.
And this, this being a sequel to a legacy sequel / reboot, this whole prequel thing or sequel thing they're talking about, like, this is such a good execution of, like, again, doing something original and new, but giving credence to the thing that you're homaging, which is two. Like, it does all the family stuff, but it is a new setting, and it is the most brutal, and it is like the scariest one. Like, and I will watch this one again probably before I watch other ones because of just like how visceral the entire thing is.
It's really nice that they continue the trend of every movie sets aside different rules, because this is like, okay, well, now we're franchise rules. We're the Last Jedi. We're
God damn it, I hate this franchise.
God damn it, I hate this franchise. Yeah, like they're talking about how now legacy characters are on the table. Now anybody could die at any time. Like, that's what we're doing because we got to keep bringing in new people for future entries. So which makes me curious, like, what rules could they establish in the next film? Because let's be honest, there's going to be a next film.
Oh yeah, I have to imagine that
these days, babies, you gotta have a sequel.
Oh yeah, I have to imagine that they're building a trilogy. Like, they're not going to make like 5 of these movies. I think like a trilogy makes sense. And I just think with what they've been doing, especially with the silly, fun, like, fan setup they've done of this, like, there's going to be multiple villains in the next one, and Stu will be in it. There's no doubt.
Oh my God.
No doubt.
So related to the Stu thing, when Kirby kills Ethan by pushing the same television over on him.
I saw that
in a Scary Movie once. Kirby is so good in this movie. I'm so glad her and Mindy have a scene where they square off about horror movie aficionado-ness.
Recognized game.
Yeah, I thought that was awesome. I'm so glad that that's like still a part of who she is. And they didn't lose that.
Yeah,
I love her so much in this movie. I'm so glad she was here.
Yeah.
I'm really,
and they didn't kill her.
Yeah.
I'm also really happy that she was there. When it looks like she's dead, I was kind of worried. But again, she makes it out. I really appreciate that I really appreciate what Ryan said, because the idea of like this could be a nice Scream trilogy, because it does feel like the arc that Samantha specifically is on is not done yet. It could end here. It could have ended in the last film, but it does feel like there's a third step she needs to kind of go through, a third trial to go through, because here she's kind of embracing Billy Loomis in a way she didn't in the first film. And how far will she want to go with that? Will that take her to some darker places? I don't ever see her as a Ghostface killer, but like where could that character go is something that I'm actually really intrigued by, and eagerly wanting a seventh entry.
Like this is obviously like incredible speculation for a movie that has not even been greenlit, but like it reminds me of like the end of The Dark Knight, where like Batman is like the villain, right? Like the whole idea was to get Sam to put on that Ghostface mask, and then she does. So like, what if the implication is like, oh, she gets sent to prison because they think she is guilty of killing this cop, and they have to get her out, and then new stuff happens around that. Like they can totally lean into that or completely ignore it. But like, I think her putting on the mask is not inconsequential.
Yeah.
I don't think she'll ever be a killer or anything, but I do think they could not make her a good Ghostface, but something like that.
What if Stu wants to turn her into one?
That's what I mean. I'm thinking like Palpatine,
not like in a framed her way.
Yeah,
but he's like, I want you to recognize that you're just like your dad.
Yeah, that's what I really feel like. That is, they're building to that. Yeah,
I don't ever see her go into prison or something like that, but I could see maybe Stu got out on good behavior, or something.
Stu can't be in prison because they would know he's alive.
Yeah, he's missing.
Right, so where is Stu Macher?
He's living in the Michael Myers hole.
Wouldn't it be what if he
different face?
What if he shows up and he's talking to Samantha, and Samantha doesn't really know that it's Uncle Stu Macher?
Okay, I don't want to. I want to save this for after, just at the very end, a little bit of prediction stuff. So I'm not going to get into that yet. I kind of want to hear a little bit more about how Ben feels about this movie overall, because we kind of like steamrolled through a lot of points.
Overall, I absolutely love this film. Yeah. I love the fact that how many killers there were. I actually like when like the movie theater scene when they were going after it, we see the two killers. I'm like, okay, there's a two, but then I was like, well, wait, is there one more? And the third one pops up. I'm like, holy shit, there's three of them. There's been three this whole time. Oh my god, so cool. I also love how Kirby isn't the killer, but I definitely fell for the trap that she was.
Oh, they got you.
They got me. I fell for the trap because it makes sense. Because even earlier they said like, yeah, you were so traumatized, and then you became the monster who hunted you. And I thought maybe Kirby did go down a downward spiral.
See, that's the interesting thing about Scream is they keep dancing around that theme, but never actually going through with it. And I always, because there's always a scene, not always, but there's often a scene where it's like, oh, what if you're the Ghostface killer because the thing traumatized you so much, blah 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 blah. And I'm kind of happy they never go down that road, but also I kind of want to see it. I'll be honest.
It's a thing of execution where like they execute like everything that this franchise is so good. To turn a hero into a villain, you'd have to do some really good script writing to make a Kirby into a killer. You'd really have to really sell me hard. Hard.
We have talked about it before, where like we know that the fan base at one point has talked about like a desire, like what if Sidney was the killer? Like what an incredible twist, and all that. And I'm like, how that would go completely against the character. Yeah. And if you really wanted to do that, Kirby is the person you do that with instead of Sidney. Ghostface also makes the same assertion of Gale. Like Gale, you would have made a great killer. Like it really would have worked for you. Dewey was the hero and Sidney was always the favorite, but like you know, the lead. But you could have done it, Gale.
Real quick, I love that Gale again. Like she's just like a journalist lady, but like she is able to like stump the police in finding like Ghostface's place, and I like she is good at her job. She is good at investigative journalism, and I like that has always been a part of her character. Like she is good at her job. That's why she always helps out. She's needed.
Yeah,
I like that.
All right. Are we wrapping up?
I'm thinking if there's anything else I want to touch on, but we just saw the movie earlier, so like I don't know. It's awesome. It's really, really awesome. I'm really happy with it. I think they did a really great job getting across all that good Scream vibe stuff. Hey, it's a great Scream movie and Sidney's not in it. That's an A+ point.
Yeah, A++.
Yeah. Do we want to amend our Scream rankings to include Scream 6?
Oh, I mean, I could do that real quick. We should probably do our ratings first.
I wish I don't remember.
I don't have my list out anymore. So
it should be easy to remember, but I'm bad at it. Are we at rankings? I'm sorry.
Yeah, rank it.
I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10. I think it's fantastic. I love it. It again, like I'm still processing it from today, but if I had to say, I like this more than 5, but I still don't like it more than 1 or 2. But it is my favorite of the 2 modern movies for sure.
Sparks?
Real quick, Brandon, did you see the post-credit scene? Because I know we did.
I did.
Great. Yeah, funny. Liked it. Perfect use of Mindy. Yeah, I think that this nails everything I want in a Scream movie, and it does it really well. And maybe I'll change my mind over time, but at this current moment, like, it's pretty high up there. 10 out of 10.
Hell yeah, baby.
Wow, 10 out of 10. Ben?
9.5 out of 10.
Oh, hi.
This one was an awesome time in the movie theater. It was awesome to watch. It kept me on the edge of my seat. I felt dread for the characters the entire time. I was like, who's gonna get out of here? Who's not?
You definitely jumped. I definitely felt you jump a couple times. I love it. I love seeing horror movies with you. I love it.
Yeah, I definitely did jump. There was especially the scene in Gail's apartment where the killer breaks through the whatchamacallit, breaks through the bookcase. Got me. But yeah, this movie was fantastic. 9.5.
Yeah, y'all, like, this movie opens with the Tony Revolori stuff and is a great opening. And I knew Kirby was still coming. And then they reveal that Stu Macher is probably alive. And I was like, man, guys, great movie. Great movie. Go ahead, Brandon.
Well, I don't like this as much as Scream 5. I really like Scream 5. I could settle on an 8.5. I think I'll settle on an 8.5. Yeah.
Still good.
All right. Rankings of the Scream films, I'll say real quick because I definitely know it. It's number 1, this, number 6, then number 2, number 5, number 4, number 3.
Wait, I'm sorry. I lost you halfway through that.
1, 6,
6,
2, 5, 4, 3.
1, 2, 6, 5, 4, 3.
And I love 2, but I think I might have to put this one over it.
Wow, yeah.
I need more time. I literally saw it just earlier today.
I forgot what my list was, and also be right back. My cat's doing something weird.
Yeah.
That's okay. You can make it up on the spot. I think I'm pretty. Here's what I'll say. I'm confident that it is 5, 1, 4. I'm confident that those are my top 3 in that order. I could switch 2 as my number 4 right now with 6. I feel like I probably like 6 more than I like 2. And then 3's at the bottom.
Yeah. I love 2, but like, especially we talked about when we did our Scream 2 reviews, like, I know that an amount of it is just like growing up with it and nostalgia, because like, I don't love how they handle Sidney's best friend character in that movie. I don't necessarily totally love the way that Randy's death is handled. Like, there are things I don't love about that movie for sure. But overall, I love that movie.
But Billy's mom is in it.
And that's pretty incredible.
Debbie Salt's in it, dude.
I really, really love this one.
Yeah.
It did so many things I wanted, and Kirby was incredible. Honestly, like, before we saw the movie, I was fully intent on when we did our review. I'm like, yeah, there's probably 2 killers. So, let's talk about where the killers are in our rankings. But there are 4, so I'm not gonna make
open the movie with a killer. All bets are off.
All right, shall we book club?
Mag says 1, 5, 6, 2, 4, 3.
Yep.
Those modern movies really working for Mag. You can find me possibly sharing my predictions for a Scream 7 at Sparks Witty on Instagram and Twitter, SPARKZ Witty, because I realized I forgot to really say anything about it
Stu's the mastermind.
End of our Scream 6 review. But I kind of hope that Stu also sees Billy's ghost and that they're both seeing the same ghost.
Oh.